Let's talk briefly about the ugliness we've seen in some corners of the media. Now, I shared what I think was a pretty decent New York Times editorial on the assassination of Charlie Kirk within the last couple of moments that was posted this evening. I have seen some very classy memories shared by people across the political spectrum in media just over the last several hours. This one from Dave Weigel. He said, "I pulled this quote from my last in-person interview with Kirk. His pitch wasn't just join the GOP, you'll get lower taxes. It was that you could give yourself to Jesus Christ and have a life worth living." This was the quote from Charlie. "Younger audiences love this contrarian, heterodox approach. The mantra is not that if you're a man, you're an oppressor. It's not that having children is a plague on this planet. We're here to say, actually, no, having children is a gift from God. And it's a wonderful thing. We're saying getting married is awesome, and you can reject hookup culture." I'll have some more thoughts towards the end of the episode on just how that reflects what Donald Trump said about Charlie Kirk understanding this generation better than many other people, if not most other people. But, aside from some of these warm memories shared by, I think, John Carl of ABC was another person I encountered a memory of Charlie being shared by. Let's roll the disgraceful coverage that Katie Tur anchored on MSNBC this afternoon, just a flavor of it, because I couldn't even capture in this hour long show how bad it was. S6. Looks like we might be having some issues with this video, but let me recap it. Mediaite wrote an editorial actually already on how horrible the coverage was. So, and MSNBC failed the moment. That was the headline. Quote, "Within seconds of reporting Kirk had been shot, anchor Katie Tur speculated aloud about whether President Donald Trump might, quote, use the Charlie Kirk shooting as a justification for something bad. Her guest, MSNBC contributor Matthew Dowd, suggested Kirk's own rhetoric bore responsibility. Quote, hateful thoughts lead to hateful actions is something he shared immediately." Continuing from this Mediaite article, quote, "MSNBC politics reporter Alan Smith wondered if conservatives might now do something similar to the, quote, take over Washington as it did in response to a Doge staffer getting mugged. All of this as viewers were just learning that Kirk had been assassinated. I will add there was speculation at one point, wildly, that we don't know what's happening, so maybe it was one of Kirk's own supporters." Chris, you first. What did you make of this?
Well, Matthew Dowd just got fired. Here's some good news for today.
And MSNBC, we should say, responded. We have the statement we can put up on the screen saying that what he said was wrong. But Katie Tur's entire breaking news coverage was disgraceful. I mean, it's more than enough to bench her. MSNBC's president said during our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. Continue, Chris.
I mean, listen, you'll hear this kind of talk right now on the fringes of the American right in places that have been pushed outside of what is acceptable. But you hear it in the mainstream of the American left every day. Every single day we hear this. It's not shocking. People like Katie Tur think that all they could think about is themselves. That, I mean, it's hard to. One thing I thought when President Trump said, "Let's not demonize each other," is that Jezebel was calling in witch curses on Charlie Kirk 2 days ago and haven't deleted the tweet.
F3, we can put that up on the screen. Editor's note, the story was published on September 8th. Jezebel condemns the shooting of Charlie Kirk in the strongest possible terms. We do not endorse, encourage, or excuse political violence of any kind. And because it's the year 2025, I actually probably have to explain to the audience what Jezebel is. A sad feminist blog that its heyday was 15 years ago. But yes, they were seeking out
witches' curses.
The headline was, "We paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk," September 8th.
Cool. I mean, it's just not surprising. This is big. It's well beyond out of control. It's so far beyond out of control. I mean, the memory holds trying to shoot the president twice and one time hitting him. People talked about how he may have framed that, how it may have been a hoax.
Right.
publicly. There's no repercussions. I mean, restaurant owners that I passed by their place on the way to bring my kid to school are talking about play stupid games, win stupid prizes. What was the game? Open debate?
We
By the
have that
way,
as
Charlie
well.
Kirk is one of the nice guys on the American right. He's like one of the sweet ones. He doesn't think mean thoughts. There are mean thoughts out there. This and what? So what did he do? He went. What was the stupid game he played?
Right.
Going to debate openly, college kids
As
in a
a
more respectful
conservative,
way than I could.
as a Christian conservative, right?
Yeah, as a Christian conservative, and Sarah had a lot more intelligent, put together thoughts on this. Sorry to put you on the spot there.
No,
Oh, I don't know about that.
Sarah, I was going to put you on the spot anyway, even if your husband didn't, because I wanted
Great.
to ask you. I wanted to ask you about F2. This is the New Republic's headline. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this New Republic headline. Quote: "MAGA troll Charlie Kirk shot during speaking event at a university." What do you make of it, Sarah?
I can only imagine the reaction if some sort of right-wing blog were to attack the target of right-wing violence in the heat of the moment. But today in the media coverage, now I was flipping back and forth between all three of the cable news networks as we were waiting more information about what happened. And it really struck me how immediately the media tried to both sides this.
Yes.
It's not an issue that is easily both sides. I think if you're going to have an honest conversation about where we're seeing extremism and violence, it's concentrated really on one side of the political aisle right now. It is on the left, and Chris was sort of getting at this, but on the right, I think a lot of the violent extremist language is really confined to the fringes, and figures on the conservative right are often held accountable for things that are said on the fringes, even when they have no connection to it. But on the left, you see some of this encouragement of radicalism in the mainstream of the party. And when you're having a border patrol agent in Vermont was killed this year, you had Antifa militants shooting up an ICE center in Texas.
Two Jewish people blocks from where I am right now who were shot.
Right. 2 Israeli embassy workers killed. I mean, you were seeing this tide of violence, and we don't know who killed Charlie Kirk, but he was very clearly targeted for his political beliefs. And so an honest conversation about the problem that we're actually facing right now would not try to immediately sort of smooth over the edges of the conversation and make it a both sides problem if you can't fight an evil that you can't name. And the media was very quickly trying to turn this into a totally different conversation.
We can name the evil here because this question of both sidesing it is very relevant. F4, let's put this up on the screen. I gave a shout out to the New York Times editorial, which does both sides. That I'm grading on a curve, just to be clear. I should have made that clear earlier, but this is from their obituary of Charlie Kirk. Mr. Kirk was so vocal in his willingness to spread unsupported claims and outright lies. By the way, I had to verify this quote was real before we used it on the show. I couldn't believe it. He said that the drug hydroxychloroquine was 100% effective in treating the virus, which it is not, that Twitter temporarily barred him in early March 2020. But the move only added to his notoriety and seemed to support his claim that he was being muzzled by a liberal elite. Seemed to support his claim? It fully supported his claim that he was being muzzled by a liberal elite. What the hell are you talking about in an obituary to invoke a tweet about hydroxychloroquine? Are you kidding me? If they did that to someone on the left, go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say, keep in mind that right now, the immediate aftermath is the most respectful they'll ever be. It is only going to get worse in the days that follow after the shock wears off. I mean, this is the best treatment from the media that he's going to get, is these hours after his death. And
Chris, on this question of both sidesing it, it's frustrating because, like I was just saying in the New York Times editorial, there is some both sidesing, but I graded it on a curve as relatively decent because I was glad to see the New York Times not acting like Jezebel, which, a few years ago seemed like a real possibility. And on that note, though, this is, that's what's tough. It's like there is something to this idea that we are declining, spiraling into nihilism. That, there are people actually on the right, as I mentioned earlier in the show, who detested Charlie Kirk for like fully racist reasons, who thought that he was anti-white, whatever the hell that means. He did face a lot of anger and vitriol from people who claim to be part of the right. There are a lot of people who are untethered from any moral foundation right now and swimming in this muck of moral relativism. And I actually don't think that's what's frustrating about this. It is not an appropriate time to both sides things. It does reflect double standards. But at the same time, nobody is immune to falling into these traps. Am I wrong?
I think no, of course everyone can fall into these traps. I don't know if I would count the weird closet cases that call themselves groypers as part of the right. They're an interesting, aren't they like pushing Gavin Newsom for president right now because he's got a handsome white family or something? I don't know how tethered these guys are to anything other than the internet and probably pornography subscriptions. But I stopped both siderisms a long time. I think the thing that snapped me away untethered me from both siderism was President Barack Obama in the middle of ISIS literally crucifying Christian priests and running over churches and faithful, going to the prayer breakfast and saying that we should get off our high horse, Christians, over something about gay rights or something. And it made me realize for the first time something that the left had long professed in America, which is complete and total hatred and contempt for me and everyone I believe. Everyone who believes what I believe. Michael Brennan Doherty, I think, had a really thoughtful tweet earlier today, as he often does, where he said, if you think what's going on Twitter is disconcerting, unsettling, try logging on to other social media networks where you'll see people who you know and people who you love, people who are in your family or people who are your friends, saying that Charlie Kirk deserved this, presumably for sharing beliefs that they full well know that you share, that you believe. You see, and this is something different. I don't think Katie Tur and these other people have any idea what they're talking about right now. Sarah was really touching on it earlier when we were sitting here and she was talking about how, and you were talking about how Charlie Kirk had an impact at one point in your life. I know we were more yaffers, you and I, but Charlie Kirk helped shape some of Sarah's political ideas when she was in college, or exposed her to things that she hadn't been exposed to. You'd see his face when you're walking down a plane aisle on people's laptops. By the way, I've seen yours as well. I'm like, my seatmates.
Sorry about that. He's like you said, he's part of a bit of a monoculture. He's someone who's everywhere. People feel like they know him, even if they didn't. And the people who did know him, even just as acquaintances from a couple trips and some meet and greets and podcasts, or as real and legitimate friends or as employees, all of us are grieving and tearful. They've shot someone who millions of Americans either know or feel like they know. Somebody who you just saw from today, from the crowd gathered at this event that no one was even paying attention. If you weren't a Utah paper like Desirata or something, you weren't covering this event. It was going on that thousands of young people were coming out to see this. Some young people don't come out to see much of anything these days at all. Movie premieres, try getting them out to sports events, essentially. Charlie Kirk, a couple other things, maybe Donald Trump, but even then it's an older crowd. And every one of those people, let's say he did a photo line, how many hundreds of people did he share a moment with? Just a warm moment or something. They've shot someone that people love. And this is the nicest they're going to be to him. Sarah's right. But I don't think they understand that it's ironic, and I've heard it used before today, but this is really a turning point in our country. It's not like a president. It's not like a soldier. This is one of us. This is someone from our friend group. If you are like me, you are definitely looking to support more made in the USA manufacturing this year, which is why I'm excited to talk to you about a warehouse. Whether it's home decor, clothing, or furniture, it's become extremely difficult to find high-quality products that aren't made overseas. A recent Forbes report revealed that annual earnings for small businesses across the U.S. have dropped by over 75% since 2023. Small businesses in this country are struggling to stay afloat. With the likes of Amazon and Target dominating the market, it's no wonder. That's where A Warehouse comes in, your one-stop shop for artisanal home goods made exclusively by small businesses. With hundreds of products to choose from, they're deeply committed to supporting American manufacturers. Their easy-to-navigate online marketplace lets you browse a wide range of independent makers, and you can feel good knowing that your purchase supports real people and small family-run businesses. A Warehouse believes that true luxury isn't about fancy labels or big brand names. It's about the dedication, creativity, and care that goes into every product, and I could not agree more. Help A Warehouse hit their goal of supporting over 100 small businesses this year. Head to awarehouseshop.com and use code PARTY for 15% off your first order. That's awarehouseshop.com, code PARTY.